And a night that felt like it could be a little optimistic for the Yankees. Severino pulled from the rotation. Judge, no night off on what used to be White Flag Day. In fact, he's in right field. Instead, the Yankees walk away going 2-4 versus the lowly White Sox on the year. Tiki, whew. Things get dark. You ready to wave that white flag yet?
No, I'm not waving the white flag yet. It's only 5.5 games now. I know it's 3.5 3 days ago, but it's 5.5 still. And not that I have hope that the Yankees or belief that the Yankees are going to get this thing figured out. But last night, just specifically about last night, Stan went yard. Hey, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Stan went yard. You just knew, and this goes back 3 starts ago for Luis Severino, where he is mentally shot. He's saying words that no elite level competitor would say, which is, I suck. I am the worst player. Seriously, he said this.
You're right.
I am the worst pitcher in baseball. And then for Aaron Boone to run him out there knowing that he's thinking this way, what the heck do we expect is going to happen? I mean, half of success as an athlete is knowing that you're going to be successful, even if you ultimately lose. Like, it's just knowing that I'm better than that guy across from me. I know I can get this guy out. And yes, if I lose that individual battle, I'm not affected by it because I'm still so confident that I know that I'll get him the next time. But you have a pitcher, and this is not like this didn't happen yesterday or 3 days ago. This happened 3 weeks ago. Sevy saying, I'm shot, I'm terrible, I have no idea what's going on. I'm basically saying I'm lost. Help me. Help me, somebody. I'm completely lost. And what do we get? We get him run out every single time. Regular rotation starts, and he gets smashed around to oblivion, even when you try to bullpen him and get Ian Hamilton in front of him. As much as I want to blame Sevy, he needs what we termed, or now have started to term, that mental IL break.
Yes.
He absolutely needs that. And
something's a little tight in the back. Put him on the IL for 10 days.
No, you can take a mental health IL break. You can do it. We saw it earlier this season. I mean, it needs Daniel Vogelbach, Met fans, you remember this?
Yeah.
He had a mental health IL break. Whoever keeps running Luis Severino out there, just ignoring the fact that he is mentally shot, is doing a disservice to him, and it's negligence on the part of the Yankees again.
How many negligent moments?
It's so many different things over and over and over. Who the hell is in charge of the Yankees right now is the question that we all should be asking.
So I've pounded the table that I've believed for a long time that while puppet might be an unfair word, I really believe that Brian Cashman is running the Yankees, clearly. It's why Girardi was run out of here, and he found a guy who would answer to him, be a yes man. And Aaron Boone, the best he could do is show fire in certain those spots, manage the egos of the clubhouse. But because of the way last night unfolded, it was the first time I said to myself, maybe Aaron Boone is allowed to make more decisions for this team than I even thought, Tiki.
Why? What made you think that?
In fact, I've thought about this more since we've talked about a half an hour ago. The Yankees owe Luis Severino nothing. In fact, his 4-year contract that's coming to an end has been a major disappointment. It made sense at the time. The Yankees were getting him for a longer amount of years at what could have been a lower price if Severino continued to emerge as an ace where 4 years ago you thought he was going. He's been injured year after year after year, and this year has been complete rock bottom. We are now in August, and you can tell me it's still too early being in August.
It is. There's still 5.5 games.
We are getting him to admit, not getting him, he's admitting on his own that he's the worst pitcher in baseball. The Yankees can, in theory, say see you later to Luis Severino for the next 2 months and focus on themselves, knowing they're likely not signing him and bringing him back. And I don't know how you could sell to the fan base, even on a 1-year deal, bringing him back. It's unfortunate that his Yankee tenure seems to be ending this way, but they owe Luis Severino nothing, which means the GM owes him nothing. Mm-hmm. But who does owe him something? The manager.
Yeah.
Because he's the one in the clubhouse with him every day. He's the one, I'm sure, that's talking him through things. He's the one, I'm sure, that, I mean, they all want him to succeed, but feels like he could still pull the most out of Luis Severino. And last night, when they go to the bullpen game, while I have no doubt that was probably a message from the top from Brian Cashman, this is our next best step, get the first 3-4 batters. It ended up being out of the way. There was no reason you had to bring Luis Severino in the second inning. A bullpen game could be a bullpen game. You know when you bring Luis Severino in?
When's that?
If your offense does its job and you're up 5-0 in the game or something like that, and it's the seventh inning, and you want to see if Luis Severino can get 3 outs and build on some confidence. In a scoreless game, only to have him shelled and have the complete oxygen sucked out of that team because Luis Severino stunk again. Tiki, if that's an Aaron Boone call, then, on the story we saw yesterday, then maybe he does have to go.
Well, maybe, I don't know if it was an Aaron Boone call. I mean, maybe it was. Maybe Aaron Boone said, all right, Ian, you did exactly what you wanted to do. As he said after the game, we might want to use him in the coming series against Miami. So we don't want to over pitch him. So maybe this was an Aaron Boone call. Or maybe, Shaun, it wasn't. Maybe Aaron Boone is just doing exactly what he's being told to do. Because think about this. If you're a manager and you know that Luis Severino is struggling, like he's lost. He's not he's a shell of that pitcher who had a sub-2 ERA 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever that was. And Ian Hamilton comes out, throws a pretty stellar first inning. If you're just managing from your gut, you're just managing as you're supposed to manage, trying to win a game, trying to win a series against the lowly 22 games under 500 Chicago White Sox, don't you just leave him in?
Yeah.
Doesn't your gut tell you Ian Hamilton's doing all right? I'm going to leave him in.
Especially with a day off today.
Exactly.
The only guy unavailable should have been Michael King, who threw 2 innings the night before.
So as much as you say this is on Aaron Boone, the fact that he went to Sevy tells me this was a predetermined decision, as he said, and maybe he said that on purpose, that somebody else is dictating what's going on with this pitching rotation. And I'm not trying to excuse Aaron Boone because he hasn't done a great job. We all know this. This isn't the 2019 Aaron Boone who managed those injuries and still, put a winner out on the field. By the way, they're still a winner, and they're still 3 games over 500, and they're 5.5 games out of the
Boy, that bar keeps getting lower, Tiki.
It is getting very lower. Give me a couple more days, and I might be over there with you, Shaun. But I almost feel like Aaron Boone is handcuffed in some ways, and he's starting to act a fool and say crazy things because he knows it's not his fault, but he's getting blamed for it.
Which brings us to a name I brought up 2 days ago. Doesn't it sound an awful lot like the end of Joe Judge as Dave Gettleman wasn't answering questions and he was the one that put together? That's what this reminds me of.
That's a good point.
It absolutely reminds me of it. But I still come back to this then. If it's not on Aaron Boone, if this is a decision where Cashman's saying this is the right course of action for Luis Severino, my question is why? What horse does Brian Cashman have in this race with Luis Severino?
I don't know.
He's not a Yankee in 2 months.
Because he paid him.
But guess what? You don't have to pay him in 2 months. We're over that contract 3 years ago. We've seen the injuries. You know what you've done? You've paid a big roster here to make the playoffs. It's more embarrassing on Brian Cashman's plate if they don't make the playoffs than whether Severino gets figured out. And right now Rodon's gone. I was telling you when Rodon and Severino pitch, you have basically 2 losses you need to overcome every 5 days. Well, okay, Rodon's on the IL. You figure out what's going on. Vasquez is coming up. Maybe it's only down to 1 when Severino's out. It finally felt like they were seeing that light at the end of the tunnel of they can't do this with Luis Severino, and they trotted him right back out there in the second inning. So if this is an edict from Brian Cashman, why? Why? Are you almost tanking Severino's value more so you bring him back even cheaper next year?
I mean, there is no value for him. I mean, what are you getting for Luis Severino right now? So
there's no reason to do it.
And he's a free agent after the season. And maybe you're hoping for lightning in a bottle. I honestly don't know. Now, it's consistently proven that it's not going to happen, especially this year. I mean, he's got the worst ERA of any starting pitcher in Major League Baseball, as crazy as that sounds for a guy who, was thought to be the next ace of the Yankees a few years ago. But there's got to be something because it doesn't make sense what they're doing to him. And it's I don't want to defend him, but I am because it's not fair to put a guy who's that lost out on the diamond every 5 days. It just doesn't. It's not fair to him. He needs some sort of intervention. And it should be his skip. It should be the organization. And they're not doing it. I mean, I almost feel bad for him.
I do feel bad for him, too.
I know it's easy to just get pissed off at him and say, Louis, you stink. Your fastball doesn't move at all. It's basically batting practice. Yeah, I know you're getting up to 95, but anybody in the majors can hit 95, especially when it doesn't move at all around the plate. But I truly feel sorry for him because he's lost, and he's being told, yeah, I know you're lost. You're in the wilderness right now, but go back out there. I mean, hell, even Buck Showalter knew that Daniel Vogelback needed a couple mental health days off, and they put him on the IL. This is doable. Now, if that it may sound murky and fungible and not real, but it is real because Luis Severino doesn't go from where he was to who he is now without something being really off.
It's not Carl Pavano. It's not Sonny Gray. It's not what could be happening with Carlos Rodon. This is a homegrown Yankee that we have seen look and perform like an ace, and it's been injuries that have derailed him. This doesn't seem like injuries. His fastball's there. So
he's not hurt.
Right. So the fact that he doesn't look the way he should when he's healthy, I'm with you. They have set him up now to fail. And because of that, they have put the team, when they're claiming they're in it to win it, in an awful position. This is not the first time we've seen pitchers struggle in New York or get taken out of rotations and bullpen games. But oftentimes when that happens, if you're not getting sent down for the mental health day that you're calling for, the best way to do it is wait for a game to be out of hand one way or another and have a guy come in and figure it out. The second inning yesterday, I don't care what the plan was an unmitigated disaster when it looked like you nailed it by Ian Hamilton getting out of that first inning the way he did.
Yep.
And it really just begs the question, who is running the Yankees? If that's a Boone call, well, I start to feel better about the fact that maybe his job should be in question. If it's a Cashman call, I don't know how you look at any sort of optimism.
Well, if it's a Cashman call, you're stuck.
You're stuck.
Because Brian Cashman's not going
anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
He's just signed an extension, and we know that Hal has utmost confidence and belief in Brian Cashman. So Brian Cashman's not going anywhere. Now, maybe if that's what the plan is, you're going to put it on Cash. Therefore, you protect Aaron Boone in a sense, and then you don't have to find a new manager. Maybe that's what the plan is, but there needs to be some sort of plan, especially with a guy like Luis Severino. It can't just be haphazard. Well, let's try this with you. Let's throw you out there in this case, because as I say, and I've been saying it until I'm going to stop saying it. They still have a shot.
Oh, jeez, you got to stop. You got to stop.
But it's the reality.
It's a long-ass season.
It is it's only August 10th.
It's a too long an ass season at this point.
10th. It is. It really is. I almost wish it was September. I want, opening day of the NFL to happen already so I can start saying, all right, I really don't even need to care about the Yankees anymore. Or the Mets are, long gone, even though they're only 7 out of the wild card.
Don't do the Mets are only 7 out.
But you know what I mean? I almost need football to make me truly stop thinking and talking about and watching these ridiculously frustrating Yankee games.
It's mind-numbing. It is so mind-numbing. At 877-337-6666. And one more note on that, too. It is 2:15 p.m. I believe that Hal Steinbrenner knows at this point that the Yankees lost again last night. I don't believe that Hal Steinbrenner knows the whole handling of a bullpen game was a disaster last night.
No.
And that, again, is a major, major, major issue for this team. Ari is in West Orange. Ari, you're on the fan. What's up?
What's up, Ari?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks so much for taking the call. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
So, look, I've called the fan. To me, roster construction is the number one problem with the Yankees, and that's on Cashman. But when you look at Aaron Boone, I'm sorry. You had 2 moves in the last 2 weeks that a manager deserves to get fired for. I don't care who's calling the shots. What it is, what it is. Boone's been there 6 years. He should be able to call the shots.
So last night is one, and what's the other move you want to point to?
What's the other one? So Sevy last
night?
Yeah,
the Herman move. When he says Herman's not healthy to pitch, and all of a sudden he's healthy and puts him in the third inning.
Yeah, but I mean, we almost have to forgive him a little bit because we know that something else was going on, and it came to light obviously a couple of days later.
Yeah, and plus Herman pitched well when he came in.
Right.
Too.
He was great.
I know the point was he could have pitched well at the beginning, but now you're understanding there might have been more to that, is why he didn't start at the beginning.
Right, but that's right. But my point really is more about last night, and Shaun, you hit the nail on the head. And Hamilton, 10 pitches, then he takes him out of the game. You want to get Severino in there. You're exactly right, Shaun. You get him in there when the score is like 5 or 6-0. You want to get him some confidence. That's fine late in the game. And then for Boone to say that he wants to save Hamilton in case they need him on Friday is a ludicrous answer. You got to win last night's game. Friday's game means nothing if you don't win last night. I mean, everything
it means something, but it means less,
on them.
for sure. Thanks for the call,
Ari.
Ari.
Appreciate you, Ari. Yeah, I mean, it does mean something. But there's a day off.
That's the part of it. Michael King pitched 2 innings the night before. So you knew in the bullpen game yesterday he was unavailable, which is probably even more of a reason if Hamilton gets out of there. Oh, by the way, he's not Jonathan Loizaga coming off the IL right now.
No, you're right.
He's not Clay Holmes, your closer. We could live with Ian Hamilton not being available on Friday night if he really needs to, even with the day off on Thursday.
I got to tell you, when Aaron Boone says these things post-game, I almost feel like he's saying them just to divert us.
To confuse us.
Yeah. Like he's trying to confuse us on purpose. He's trying to throw words that take us away from what actually is going on. Because I said it to start the show, and I'll get to it again. If you are any skip and unless it's being dictated to you from on high, why are you taking Ian Hamilton out of the game? Why at that point?
Because you're going by the book. The book says to bring in Severino next.
Screw the book.
Yeah, no kidding.
The book does nothing for you.
It's
nothing.
It's absurd, Tiki, to the umpth degree. But now we have a resume of this. With all due respect, and we like Aaron Boone, the man, maybe we like him as the manager if he didn't have to answer to Brian Cashman. We were strung along for 2 months, although fans with our own eyes, we could see that Anthony Rizzo could not hit after that injury.
Yep.
And we believed ourselves what the Yankees were selling us when we find out later we should have believed our instincts, which was it was directly
Something's
correlated.
wrong. Yeah.
Something is wrong. Aaron Judge, they couldn't tell us it was a ligament issue within those first 2 weeks. It took Judge telling us, is it a broken toe? And it made us question his fans.
I might need surgery.
Right. It made us question whether he was going to come back this year or if he had a broken toe and he wasn't being man enough to play with a broken toe. And I could go on and on and on. But Brian Cashman's, Aaron Boone's had so many of these press conferences that as fans, it's almost like, how many times are you going to take us like we're idiots?
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing things with our own eyes and we're not stupid. And we've been right about all of them, been told we were wrong. Frank in New Rochelle. Frank, you're on the fan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Injuries, everybody has them. Underperforming guys, Severino, LeMahieu, Stanton, everybody has them. The thing that is most listen to me now is they're lifeless. I've watched a lot of baseball, like all the fans that call your show, you guys.
Yep.
There is no heart. It's as though if they're going through the motions. There's no fight in this team, and that's probably the most damning thing you can say about a manager, GM, organization, that they have no life. They have talent, a little more talent than the White Sox, or more talent than some other teams that are underperforming. But they're just lifeless right now, and that to me would be reason to fire Boone. Pat Riley, the great basketball coach, said sometimes you need another voice. They stop listening.
Yeah.
And it's really time for a change. It really is. I don't think they're going to do it. It's frustrating as a fan. But when you don't have any kind of hustle, any kind of fight in you as a fan of just watching the games, that's just really a bad situation.
Yeah, and
right now.
that's a good call, Frank. But it's hard to see it in baseball. Like fight, it's an intangible thing. Like you can see it in hockey. You can see it in football.
Right, the feistiness to it.
Yeah, there's a feistiness to it. It's hard to really see it in baseball, right? How do you know an at-bat? Like, you're not going to go up there and be, so angry at your at-bat that you clinch up and you hit. It's like me playing golf, right? I'm frustrated now. Let me clinch this golf club tighter, and I splay it way to the right. You can't see it, really.
And not everybody's Polio or Brett Gardner where they're smashing things in the dugout after.
That's right. And
just because you're not doing that doesn't mean you don't care.
It's such a mental game. The mental gymnastics of baseball it's hard to show anger. It's hard to and make it translate. It's hard to show your frustration and wear it athletically. You can do that in other sports. You can't really do. You can do it in basketball. It's right. All right, I'm mad right now. All right, I'm going to come down. I'm going to yoke it on you. Or at least I'm going to try to. Right? Even if it fails, you're going to see me try to rise up over and dunk on top of you. You can do it in other sports. Baseball is counterproductive. It's honestly like golf.
Right.
You try harder, you get worse. Baseball could be the same thing. And at the end of the day, though, somebody has to be accountable for this. And you mentioned this, Shaun, and I don't know if this is actuality, but it probably is. It's like they're setting Aaron Boone up to be the scapegoat.
Yeah.
He's going to be the patsy.
He's been shoved to that podium every night, and I get that's part of his job, having to answer for questions that might be
not his decisions.
Right. The decisions made by Brian Cashman, and we all have to slop it up like pigs at a trough.
We got to continue to discuss all options.
877-337-6666.